All right, tip number one, be like the Borg, adapt quickly. And don't take that analogy any further. There's no assimilation. One thing I've learned is that placements will come fairly quickly much of the time, especially if you are getting an emergency placement. I've had 3 children placed with me due to emergency placement, and the circumstances vary widely. It could be that they just came into care very late in the day, and they may have another place they're going later, but the place can't take them right away. It could be something happened at the last home, and there's just all sorts of reasons it could be happening here. But often when that happens, there's not a whole lot of window for deciding, and it's varied with each kid. In some cases I've had just a matter of I need to decide right then. In some cases I've been given a few days notice to be able to think about it and call them back. Placements often do come fairly abruptly. I even had one call for a child who I was not able to accept, but the call came in at midnight. And that, talk about an abrupt thing, you don't really have time to think about it very much at that point. You know, this could be happening at any time of the week and at any time in your life rhythm. So maybe you haven't gone grocery shopping for the week, and suddenly you're about to take another kid, and you're going, what am I going to feed this child? I don't really have any food in the house. Or maybe the reverse, where you have already planned dinner and you're an hour or 2 away from getting it on the table, and suddenly you have another kid coming. Will that kid eat what you've made? Things come quickly, and you need to be able to adapt to those things. On a related note, DCS does attempt to tell you everything they know, but what's fascinating is there's a lot of details they just won't have. And sometimes information may even be wrong. I've had 2 placements where it has taken several days before I really knew exactly what the situation was with what these children needed and what they were supposed to be doing while they were with me. There was one child who was placed with me, I'll call him C. C was with me for a week before we really knew all of the details of what was going on. And getting some of those needs met was a challenge. It took almost 10 days before we got his clothing allotment, just for him to be able to purchase clothes. So in the meantime, I had a few things I loaned him, like a few shirts, and I just went to the store and was like, we just need to buy you some basic necessities. Part of what we were working on with him is getting him his GED. Not only have we been having trouble interfacing with what do we need to do that, it's been that we've also been having to interface with an adult ed program that is not directly tied to DCS. And so sometimes getting information there has been really challenging. And I've had to figure out how to adjust when we'll have a week that goes by where we're going, I don't know what he needs to be doing right now. You know, he's done the last thing they told us to do. We don't know what comes next. And he's just sitting around the house waiting for something to happen. I have another child who when he came to me, I knew nothing about the visitation plan, I knew nothing about the educational plan, and it's taken a few days to figure any of that out. And a lot of what he keeps asking about, I'm going, I want to be able to help you with these things, but I don't know how to help with certain things because there are things I just don't know. And so being able to adjust, especially when these kids have their questions and they have certain things that they are wanting and trying to figure out and trying to make sense of, and you're trying to help them make sense of it when you really don't have any more information than they do. There are also a lot of things that you will just learn as you go, kind of on the fly. I had one child with me who the paperwork said he was taking 2 medications, but when he showed up he had a basket full of medications. There were, I think, 8 different medications in that basket that all had to be given at different times in the day. And when he first showed up, it was fairly easy because he had these pill containers. Well, he ended up staying with me for several days, and after a few days, those pill containers went empty. And so then I'm going, well, he still needs medicine, and I've got all the originals, but now I'm trying to figure out what exactly to give him, and when I start to read the labels on the bottles, they say slightly different things. So some of them are saying, give this 3 times a day. Some are saying, give half a pill, give 1.5 pills. And that became a really interesting learning curve. Thankfully, I was able to talk to his bio dad, and the dad was able to help walk me through, here's what this actually looks like, and get things realigned. But it took a few days before anyone really knew it was happening. And when I talked to DCS later about that, they were surprised that there were all these medicines, even though they had handed me all of the medicines. So there's a lot of communication that doesn't always get transferred, and you as the foster parent just have to figure it out. Again, all of these are just, examples of the kinds of things you might run into, and it's not been insurmountable. I figured all of these things out, but it's definitely been a struggle at times. And so being able to adapt quickly and make best judgments based on the information that you have, continue to try to find more information as you need it, those are some really important skill sets. So this is getting really long, and I'm going to way edit this down, but I think that's enough for the adapt quickly. Let's move on to the other one.